After multiple listening parties, pushed back release dates, random pictures of his wife, and so many rumors, Kanye West himself has put an end to the madness and given us an actual release date for his upcoming album Vultures, and I don't think the news could have came in a crazier way. Now, after weeks of posting just about anything on social media except new music, Ye finally released a trailer for his upcoming album, which at the end teased not just one release date, but multiple, with Vultures having 3 separate volumes that are going to all drop about a month apart from one another. Now, with Volume 1 releasing on February 9th, Volume 2 coming on March 8th, and Volume 3 dropping on April 5th, Kanye is planning on doing something on a scale that no other artist of his magnitude has ever pulled off. Now, while Kanye released 2 of his own albums and produced 3 more for other artists back in the summer of 2018 in just 5 weeks, with those projects all being 7 songs each, the scale was way more manageable. But from what we already know about what he's planning this time around, Volume 1 of Vultures alone has 18 songs, so with 2 other full-scale albums following it up, it's really looking like we could receive 50 new tracks from Kanye West in just 3 months, which is absolutely insane. Now, while we don't officially know what Ye's vision for all 3 of these albums are, due to the fact that we can see the entire track list for Volume 1 on platforms that it's been up for pre-save or pre-order on, we do know that there is a good handful of tracks that Kanye previewed during his 2 listening events that aren't found on the first installment of Vultures, and this tells us a lot about what the entire series will offer. Now, before we can dive further into the actual music on these upcoming records, it's important to understand the weight the Vultures trilogy will hold, not just when they are released, but presumably for years to come. From the branding of all 3 of the volume covers to the eerie dystopian visuals Kanye released as the record's accompanying trailers on his Instagram, it's clear that Ye is aware of the type of weight this entire era is going to hold, not just to his own career, but to the entire hip-hop and really the music world as a whole. In a time where Kanye has been involved in so much controversy and everybody from his most loyal fans to his biggest haters are waiting to see what he has to offer after everything that we have seen during the past few years of his life, Ye is at one of the most contended points he has ever been at, and it seems like he's using this storm of excitement, anger, hope, and so much else to create one of his most ambitious experiences yet. It's so poetic that right when the college dropout is about to turn 20 years old, Kanye is going all out with a musical experience that, if he drops on time and executes everything just near the way he has promised, will change not just his own reputation and career, but also has the potential to do so much more. Now, with this said, don't expect Kanye to create a record that is as focused and masterful as My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, or as artistically boundary-pushing as Yeezus or 808s and Heartbreak, because the way the Vultures albums are going to leave their impact on the rap world will most likely be in a much different way. Now, based off the music we have heard in the listening events and the way the track lists of each chapter is seeming to formulate, Vultures is gearing up to be a 3-part series that won't just bring Kanye to the forefront in a way that we haven't seen in quite some years, but it will serve as the ultimate showcase of his artistry at this point in his career. From making bangers that sample classic hits from the Backstreet Boys with Ty Dolla $ign, Charlie Wilson, and Lil Baby, to whatever ho-scaring material Ye worked on with JPEG Mafia. With 3 different albums to play with, Kanye has the chance to display the massive artistic scope he projected to the world on a project like Donda, but in a much more focused and cohesive way. Now, speaking of cohesion, while we don't know much of anything outside of a few songs that could possibly be on Volumes 2 and 3 of Vultures, what we do know is that Volume 1 is clocking in at 18 songs, and considering that we have heard most of these tracks at the 2 listening parties, we can figure out what the introductory installment to Vultures is aiming to do and just where Kanye may be going with this whole thing. Now, with Volume 1, which will hopefully drop February 9th if Kanye doesn't screw anything up, this album's goal is to reintroduce Yeezy to the world as he makes his grand comeback with an array of catchy, memorable, and most importantly for this record, controversy-free bangers. From the hilarious up-tempo banger of New Body to the soon-to-be mosh pit anthem of F Some with Playboi Carti and Future, The theme uniting most of the songs in the first chapter of the Vultures saga is the signature Kanye West spectacle that you can't get anywhere else. With Ye and Ty Dolla $ign's chemistry coming so naturally from what we have heard, and artists like Lil Wayne, Freddie Gibbs, Young Thug, Kid Cudi, and many others expected to be featured on this part as well. I would expect this album to have the most hits and rack up the highest sales figures and streaming numbers overall, but while most of this album is being designed for the masses, between all of the potential hits this album is loaded with, there are some darker tracks that touch on Kanye's state of mind and begin to reveal where his heart and mind are truly at, and this is where this album and series gets way more interesting in between both of these factors. Vultures Volume 1 isn't just aiming to be a great album, but it's hoping to be a great advertisement for the following installments of the series as well. Now, I think the fact that Volume 1 features an iteration of the cover being shown in the daytime as opposed to the nighttime of Part 2 and the stormier look of Volume 3 just adds more life to the idea that this part's designed to welcome back Kanye with an experience that's going to be just as memorable and catchy as his other albums, but from here. This is where we really have to theorize about what the next two installments of Vultures could be, and based on the little information we know, it's clear that no matter what happens in these parts, in one way or another, things are bound to get a lot crazier. Now, if Volume 1 is the record that is more similar to Donda or even The Life of Pablo in terms of both its scale and accessibility, I'm expecting Volumes 2 and 3 to be a little grittier and really flesh out Ye's abrasive and riskier sides. Now, we gotta remember, this is still a collab album with Ty Dolla $ign all the way through, so I'm sure Kanye is not gonna go into anywhere near as crazy of a direction as he did on something like Yeezus, or even as personal as a project like Ye. But as far as I'm concerned, it's looking like Part 2 and Part 3, while still having a good amount of bangers, will push things as close to the edge in terms of where Kanye will steer things. Now, the reason I say this is because aside the covers of Volumes 2 and 3 just being a darker shaded version of Volume 1, one of the tracks that was noticeably left off the first record was Forever Rolling with Lil Baby, which was a cut much darker and way more tense in tone compared to everything else we heard and beyond the song's grim atmosphere. This was easily the best rapped and most lyrically coherent song Kanye previewed, as both Lil Baby spit a great verse and Ye went even crazier, delivering one of his best lyrical performances that I have heard in quite some time. Now, with tracks like this, or even some of the more crazed and aggressive bangers that were left off Part 1 as well, like Dead with Lil Durk and Future or Don't Kill the Party with YG and Tyga, while we can't fully see where Kanye is gonna bring the later parts of the Vultures trilogy, while I'm sure it will build right on Part 1's foundation, it will also show off a lot more than I'm sure most listeners are used to or even expecting. Now, I don't know what monstrosity Kanye and JPEG Mafia are cooking up, but I am sure wherever their collab ends up, it'll be one of the craziest and most out there songs that we probably will ever see from Kanye, and this is another part of the entire Vultures series that makes it so exciting. I don't think people get that we are about to see Bad Bunny, Playboi Carti, Freddie Gibbs, and JPEG Mafia all featured on the same string of projects, and this is just amazing for hip-hop and music as a whole, that Kanye is letting all of these artists share the stage with him, and especially for rappers like Peggy and Gibbs, who get the chance to show off their talent that goes unsung by so much of the culture on one of the biggest albums of the year. The only thing Kanye needs to embrace any artist is to respect their talent level, which allows for the entire culture to be together and have a chance to succeed in a way that no other superstars really allow, and I feel like this is something Kanye gets no credit for, but he really should. Now, overall, no matter how all of these installments connect to one another and craft their own place in Kanye's catalog, it's clear that Vultures won't just be a spectacle for the entire world to watch, but if Kanye doesn't screw things up or lie, it may just change how a lot of rappers think about rollouts and releases as a whole. Now, as I said earlier, no rapper near Kanye's size has ever released this many albums on this scale in this short amount of time, and while we are yet to see if the musical quality delivers on these albums and if fans are willing to consume record after record so quickly, In today's musical landscape where sales are dropping and attention spans are shrinking, this may be the type of event that you need to make your release feel special and to truly engage with your audience. What's so interesting about Vultures is that from the time Volume 1 drops to when Part 3 concludes, we will be living within this breathing rollout for every waking moment of the entire series, and the way listeners interact with the material could build crazy amounts of hype for what's to come next. Feeding fans music in an event like this is one of the most exciting things any rapper has done in quite some time, and if Kanye West can successfully release a trilogy of albums in just 3 months, whether he becomes the rapper who pulled off the impossible, or he ends up setting a new industry trend where rappers and artists try to create these living experiences and rollouts where they can exist with the music and even help influence what they may see from its following parts. What's for sure is that Kanye's career, hip-hop, and music will never be the same once all of this comes out, or really should I say, if this does, but considering the stakes and everything Kanye has posted and told us directly, I don't know, I have hopes that these albums will come out on time, and because I'm delusional, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a ton and it is free to do. Let me know your thoughts on everything Vultures in the comments below. Thank you for watching, your support means everything. Mr. F, Fantastic Hip Hop, signing out. Catch you in the next video.